Hardcore Pawn officially went out of business after this happened.
Come on, gonna get your hands on me. Really or what?
But before we begin, we hope to see you stay until the end, as you won't want to miss out on what we have to show you in today's video. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel, click that notification bell to be notified of any future videos, and comment to be entered into our $100 Amazon gift card giveaway.
Right. Well, I can give him this for 50.
Está loca, dile que yo dije que está loca la.
He says you're crazy.
Cancelled. In a majority of programming overhauls of the True TV network, by 2014, they had looked to replace a majority of the reality TV show lineup with funnier, smarter, and more creative content, with the likes of Lizard Lick Towing and the South Beach Tow being the first to go. By the skin of their teeth, Hardcore Pawn managed to get a renewal contract for its 9th season. The show's format just needed to be drastically rebuilt, with an increased focus on customer negotiations and family drama. We saw a massive decline in the screaming matches that we were so accustomed to. Really, all we had in the first episode of the new season was a fake confrontation between Ashley and the loud Spanish-speaking customer.
And when you're getting louder and louder in my store.
Háblame bien.
Considering too derivative of other True TV programs, the network felt 162 episodes were enough, and no new contract was written up for the 2015 year.
I've had Rich's back since the first day he came here, over 20 years ago. I feel betrayed.
Rich Pyle, where are they now? Hardcore fans may remember a longtime store manager and friend Rich Pyle for his lovable character, sense of humor, and eccentric hairstyle. Others, however, might know him for his abrupt departure from the store and subsequently the show after such a melodramatic ending to season 5. On this particular day of filming, Les was in a notably bad mood after just a few accidental slip-ups from other employees. Sadly, as a man of his word, Rich was the next person to mess up, and in a minor dispute, Les fired him, leaving viewers at home to feel somewhat betrayed in a way.
You know what, Rich? You, get out of the store!
Really?
Really?
It didn't take too long before Rich found new opportunities elsewhere, though. After working with American Jewelry and Loan for over 20 years, National Geographic approached Rich about becoming an urban prospector on the reality TV show Meltdown. Due to such abysmal ratings, however, the show was scrapped after its first year. Since then, he's produced the RPM Gear clothing line with partner Darren Hamilton of Detroit Muscle, and has been a longtime musician as part of a band, Zooper. So that explains his ostentatious facial hair.
Ashley, what the hell is going on?
You want to talk, Dad? I'm ready to talk. I'm right here.
Bad blood broad. Some people thirst for independence, and you shouldn't blame them for going out of their way to find their own success. To end off the series, Hardcore Pawn left us with a huge cliffhanger when Ashley Goldbrod decidedly left the family business, as well as the show in typical Hardcore Pawn fashion.
I quit.
You what?
I quit.
What do you mean you quit? Come back here. Ashley, come back now.
For dramatic purposes, the show used Ashley and Karen's longtime feud as scapegoats so that she could actually kickstart her own online jewelry pawning business known as Pawn Chick Shopping.
She's a former reality TV star. Now Ashley Gold started her own line of jewelry business here at Pawn Shop.
In part to the celebrity status she attained through her time on the True TV series, the business itself has been quite successful since its launch in December 2015. As for Broad's reasoning to separate herself from the family business, while her honest intentions were to become an independent business owner and to spend more time with her husband and kids, others simply believe that she couldn't handle the constant fighting between the family members and angered customers.
The detectives have arrived. I need to tell them what's been happening and show them the evidence.
Even the employees steal. Pawn shops are a hot zone when it comes to taking security measures, but it's still not uncommon to see a few amateur thieves try their luck every now and again. But your own employees naturally are the last people you have picked out as the ne'er-do-wells. The first incident that comes to mind from Hardcore Pawn is Joel Shannon, the shop's former head of security. Honestly, never saw that coming. It occurred during the season 6 finale when police were brought in and showed several tapes of Joe stealing scrap gold off of Jeff's desk on multiple occasions.
And again, and again. I'm gonna get him, I'll bring him back here.
He rightfully admitted to his wrongdoings and was escorted out in handcuffs. Another incident, which occurred in season 4, was with their new jewelry encounter employee, Teresa.
She asked you to put a watch on the internet.
She didn't ask me, no. John came up to me.
She didn't ask you?
Despite being hired by Ashley, they did not get along. She didn't even last a full episode before getting caught taking items out of storage and placing them online as for sale in case she wanted to buy them. Naturally, the two girls got into a Hardcore Pawn style scuffle until Teresa was finally fired.
Trust it, you gotta go home the rest of the day, I'm sorry. And
All right, you just made that move. Don't
you're
come
done.
back.
Don't
Just
wave your hand at me
punch out,
like that,
you're
you're done.
The The worst offender, however, might have to be when Christina laundered more than $1,000 while working at the jewelry counter.
How much money do you think you've stolen from American Jewelry?
I don't know.
Would you say it's over $1,000?
I can't understand what that is.
Yes or no? Yes.
After being confronted by Les, Seth, and Ashley about it, Christina was promptly taken away in handcuffs.
Hey, Wayne, what's going on?
What's going on, buddy? My safe cracker couldn't get the safe open, so he sent one of his guys down to drill it.
Hardcore problems. Chicago. With how popular Hardcore Pawn had become, averaging nearly 3 million views per episode, truTV sought out to capitalize on their cash cow and bring in Chicago's own Royal Pawn Shop as Hardcore Pawn Chicago. They were worse in pretty much every way, most notably in the people they hired. According to TMZ, employees Jeremy Jackson and Carl Bell were busted after trying to sell back $40,000 worth of goods they stole from their own shop. How do these two characters thought the shop owners wouldn't notice a batch of missing Rolexes is beyond me. But at least they were caught before gambling the money away. As a result of the scandal, however, along with other mishaps, Hardcore Pawn Chicago was scrapped just after one whole season.
So what's next?
I'm going to call in some world-class appraisers.
Thieving art dealers. At one point, American Jewelry and Loan found themselves in the middle of a $1 million theft after nearly purchasing stolen art. Luckily, before any money was handed out, the original owner called Les and everything was cleared up. As it turns out, two people who had came in with the art, Dina and Tony, claimed Les was a family friend of theirs who could give a good deal on the paintings, when in actuality, they've never met before. With $425,000 planned to be put into an escrow account and more along the way, Les gave the two thieves his number for the original owner to call and make a final deal. But really, they told him they were getting less than they expected in hopes of pocketing the rest for themselves. Talk about scum. Tragedy is the worst policy. You may recognize the local Detroit resident, David Kapusinski, as the buff bodybuilder from a 2013 episode of Hardcore Pawn. He made a memorable appearance on the show after failing to intimidate Seth Gold, and was recalled again in 2015, when he was reported dead after a fatal confrontation with police. The 911 call was made early in the morning as a domestic disturbance to Kapusinski's apartment, and when he wouldn't comply with officer orders, he was tased repeatedly. Kapusinski's girlfriend wanted to remain nameless, but told reporters that her and her child loved him, and gave her the emotional and financial support to return to college, and that there were no prior instances of abuse or violence in their relationship. As for his buff appearance on Hardcore Pawn, she explains it was a setup, a joke, and not real at all.
Good. I'm Les.
Ja.
What the hell is it?
Les Mojo. As the owner of American Jewelry and Loan, Les Gold has been known to purchase some very questionable items from customers, although one of Hardcore Pawn's most morbid purchases has to be of Dr. Kevorkian's van. A forever icon and lasting part of Detroit's history during the early 1990s, Dr. Jack Kevorkian euthanized more than 130 locals in his historic 1968 Volkswagen minibus, until selling it to a scrapyard in 1997 for $150. Les would inevitably become its future owner, purchasing the Deathmobile for a cool $20,000. Nearly 20 years ago. As a tribute to the van, Hardcore Pawn featured it in the season 6 episode Les Mojo, in which a coin flip was used to decide on a price. A year after the episode aired, Les finally parted ways with the minibus after reportedly selling it to Ghost Adventures host Zach Baggins for $32,500.
No, Mom, calm down.
You're crazy.
Detroit, not as it seems. Up until season 9, Hardcore Pawn has always adhered to the melodramatic tendencies shared between customers and employees. It might be about their weight, their age, looks, and even speech. As a result, in the past, Hardcore Pawn has been met with heavy criticism for their sketchy portrayal of Detroit's population as a whole. Others also have complained of the surrounding areas Hardcore Pawn tends to show off, stating that the area is far nicer and more prominent than they play it out to be. Needless to say, the people of Detroit aren't too happy about it, which could also be a reason for all of the angry customers.
You can ask the question all day long, every day of the week. How real is the show? Our show gets filmed at American Jewelry and Loan when we are open from 9:30 to 6 days a week. We are 100% real.
Scripted content. Pawn Stars, Storage Wars, and Keeping Up with the Kardashians are just a few solid examples of phony reality TV. But where does Hardcore Pawn stand? In a video posted by Media Bistro in 2014, Les and Ashley sought to answer the question themselves, claiming that our show gets filmed at American Jewelry and Loan when we're open from 6:30 to 6 days a week. We are 100% real, we work at the store, we are real people, we're not actors. Seth had a similar response in his 2016 Reddit AMA, Ask Me Anything, as well as claiming to be pawnbrokers, not actors. Seth also raises a good point that because of how popular the show was and how they would film regularly is likely the reason why so many customers would act out. It gave them the potential to be on television. And with that said, that concludes why Hardcore Pawn has officially ended. Feel free to comment down below what you thought about today's video, and maybe leave a like if you enjoyed. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification similar to this one in the near future. And have yourselves an excellent day.